The Weedsman Podcast. ChristopherMedia.net.
You can't control what's outside your home, but you can control what comes in. Because Clorox disinfecting wipes kill 99.9% of viruses and bacteria, including COVID-19 virus, when used as directed on hard, non-porous surfaces. So whether it's from dirty doorknobs, dirty shoes, or something else, outside germs won't stand a chance. When it counts, trust Clorox. Kill Pseudomonas, Salmonella, and influenza virus type A2. Kill SARS-CoV-2 on hard, non-porous surfaces. Use as directed.
This week at Macy's, get ready for a spring refresh with an extra 20% off with your coupon or Macy's card. Or check out amazing specials like Levi's jeans for all, now 30 to 40% off. New kids and baby looks, 50% off. And 1,250 thread count 4-piece sheet sets, just $39.99. Plus, Macy's Star Rewards members earn on every purchase except gift cards, services, and fees. More at Macys.com/Star Rewards. Savings off sale and clearance prices, exclusions apply.
Christopher Media. Let's make some noise. From Asthmacore Studios near Detroit, Michigan.
Oh, man.
It's the Weedsman Podcast.
I have no idea what's going on.
And now,
you have smoked yourself retarded.
Here are the Weedsmen.
You want to get high?
Yes. Yes, I do, Tolly. I'm Chris.
I'm Aaron. I'm getting high on some analog weed.
Got that old people weed.
Yeah. This is old school. It's been a while, honestly. I've been consistently vaping. I got some pre-rolls from the dispensary when my back was giving me problems. Those pre-rolls suck, man. I mean, it's inconsistent, right?
Like
it doesn't have even though they put a strain on there. You know it's a shake, and it doesn't have a distinct flavor to it. And you get, like, a bad taste every now and again because there's, the occasional stem or something in there.
I'm not down with this whole cone fad. I know we talked about this way back when we started, and Rob was still on the show. Like, I know it's what's on your Bob Marley posters and shit. But, like, no, I like a regular, give me an orange, or whatever, or a white. I like a nice hand roll.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, because the cone I thought was a way to just, pack more weed in there, right? Rather than rolling a super fat blunt that would be hard to get your mouth around and it would get all slobbered up on the end. You could just, you could have like a regular size joint that just flares out to super huge. So when you do that on a smaller format, that's what I was getting, these pre-rolls, and they're like 0.35 of a gram, and it's in a little cone shape, and I'm like, I don't get it.
Yeah, just never a fan, and yeah. If we're gonna go old people, I'm going hand rolled. I like it.
Yeah.
Cuban style.
So
Castro style.
I decided that I wanted to, get some like actual good weed. But again, we've talked about this. The prices at the dispensary are outrageous. And as much as I've preached on this show that like we need to support the legal market, I know that people, myself included, are only going to fully support the legal market when it is competitive. And when a good deal pops up,
yeah,
you're going to fucking take it,
Exactly. Sometimes the black market goes, hey, check this shit out. Here's a deal you're never getting at a dispensary ever. At least not with anything good.
Right. Well, there's always going to be, if you're people always know people, right? Yeah. You'll always be able to get a good deal off somebody that grows. But the question is, for a true smoker, is getting a regular supply, right?
Yes.
That's a good deal popping up every once in a while isn't going to disrupt the market in any way, because you'll take that deal and then you'll go, oh, he doesn't have any more? Okay, well, I'll just go to the dispensary and get it.
Yeah, absolutely. A good, consistent deal is a find. No, I mean, the last time I had a weed man, and that's what happened. He displaced a guy who I'd been going to for years. Like, like since we were teenagers. And it was A, it was accessibility, and B, it was quality and price. It's regular shopping, motherfuckers. Just like buying a couch. Or whatever, or buying your dinner. It's really what it came down to.
Dude, I used to be all over Kroger. I was a Kroger loyalist. I had my Kroger card, and I went and I picked out my purchases. So they got to sit and you buy 5 of these certain items. So I got to find 5. Oh, actually, I want more of these. Oh, I'll get 10 of everything. And they would totally rope me in with their sales and all that. And then they built an Aldi's near me, and I'm like, oh, hey.
See ya. Yeah.
Done. That relationship was like, I might as well just cut up my Kroger card. Now I go there. You know what I get from Kroger? Seattle's best coffee, because they don't carry it at Aldi. Everything else, they got something, a substitute at least.
Yeah.
And it all comes down to price. People are brand loyal, but if there's another option there that's just as good at a lower price.
And consistency. Because Aldi's shtick is that...
Right, if Aldi's was like some guy on a cart wheeling around the neighborhood that I didn't know when he was going to show up again, that's not real competition.
Yeah, exactly.
I might buy a whole bushel full of green peppers for a couple bucks and go, I'm good for green peppers for months. But that's not going to disrupt the market.
Yeah. And Aldi's shtick is, is their cheaper prices, and it's not cheaper shit.
Yeah.
You still good quality stuff for a cheaper price.
Yeah, and Aldi's is Aldi's is the type of company that develops later in a market. That once because markets tend to kind of ossify, right? They get stuck in a certain culture and they go, well, this is how we do things in the grocery store business or the convenience store business or whatever. And then somebody just comes up with a crazy idea like, what if we did it different? And it's more of a disruptor type of business. And it's been very successful in that. So, I don't know, when do we get to see that type of business happen? I mean, we're 6-7 years into this experiment in this country, starting with Colorado.
Oh, it is still, if it was a person, it is still a baby.
Yeah. And so it seems like it's still a long way off from being disrupted in ways that could actually shake up the market and make it more competitive.
Like, there's going to be
the disruptions are going to continue to come from the black market, which is going to continue to hobble the legal market.
It is now within the realm of possibility that when your children are our age, they could be like, hey, remember when the whole country wasn't legal? Remember that shit? How did that work?
Yeah, they're going to be confused. So, some states, what if you wanted to go from one state or another? Like, what did you do with your weed?
Yeah.
And the answer will always be the same. Well, we were white, so we didn't really give a fuck.
Until there'll be the old people be like, oh, did you talk to Grandpa? They couldn't even have weed.
Yeah.
They would go to jail.
You mean that thing that the government gives us for, first of the month, they drop off an O at our door? The government insists now that we smoke weed.
But it's probably like us when we hear about prohibition. Like, wait, what? Alcohol was what? Wait, what? That's how I first react when I heard about prohibition. They did what now?
Yeah. How does that even work?
Yeah. Wait, so you couldn't just go out and buy a beer? What the fuck?
Right. Well, later on, you heard more stories about how it didn't actually work at all.
Yes.
And all it did was push it underground and increase the profits and put the business in the hands of criminals.
Well, yeah, especially when you're from Detroit like we are and you hear about the Purple Gang. And that's pretty much what they did.
Absolutely. That's how they made their money. They were running stuff in from over the river from Canada into Detroit.
International, son. Over the... Yeah.
Running alcohol over the border.
Everyone's always looking at Mexico. Meanwhile, Canada just doing gangster shit. Literally.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, there's plenty of books and stories out there. If you're interested in some crazy, psycho gang shit, man, look up the Purple Gang. They were called, but they had the tattoo. Was it under the tongue or on the tongue?
I don't remember. Either way.
I think it was like
a tattoo anywhere near the tongue is hardcore in my book.
somewhere in the mouth, which
Yeah,
is the important part for me.
Mouth tattoo. That just equals badass.
And yeah, mouth tattoo back in the day, like Prohibition era.
Yeah.
This isn't like 1990s, cholo.
Yeah.
They were the originators. That was probably, well, I don't know. There's probably some, the tattoo culture goes way back. So people have done, but in like modern culture, that's crazy.
What's next, though? Eye tattoos? I mean, face tattoos are now like almost a normal thing.
Yeah. I feel like it's kind of reached its limit.
Post Malone, I hope glad that music thing worked out for him, because he would be a janitor otherwise. He would be working with his hands, doing something.
Yeah, that's going to be the real mess. Like we are, when these people, some of them are going to, not be successful. They're going to get something tattooed on their face thinking at 22 that they are going to get a record contract. And maybe they do get a record contract, but that doesn't mean that you're set for life. So there's going to be people that are going to have regular jobs, that are going to have all kinds of crazy shit tattooed on their face that will tell a story.
Yeah, I mean, there's this mentality out there, and it's funny. It's the same things that we were saying when we were the age of like, man, we're glad what's the verbiage that's used? The tattoos aren't acceptable generation is dying off. It's like, motherfucker, you can have a fucking neck tattoo because of Gen X, you idiot. Hey, you like those? Hey, you like those gauges? You get thanks Gen X for that, moron.
Yeah.
No, buddy. It's
absolutely.
There's still going to be professional jobs, no matter in tattoos. There's going to be professional jobs in tattoos, and they're really not going to commingle unless you get them in the right places. I just tell the story of the bartender when I was a DJ in a bar for like a year. The guy that worked a bar on Tuesday nights when I was there was tatted up like a motherfucker, but you never knew when his shirt was on. The only way you saw this guy's tats is when he took off his shirt and was wearing his wife beater in the bar. Other than that, like, even if he wore a short sleeve like polo shirt, you didn't see one piece of ink. But anything above or that polo, anything above short sleeves, boom. Because he's like, I have to have a job and I like tattoos. You have to figure this out.
Yeah, it wouldn't be. I've had jobs where I've had to hire people before, but they were, let's see, one was at an art store, the other at a music store. So
right.
Tattoos and wild hair, like that wasn't so much of an issue.
More part of the uniform.
Right. But I'd hate to be hiring for a restaurant now, because where do you figure out where that line is?
I was doing it visible. It's just, if you have crazy ink, you have to wear long sleeves.
Right.
It's all based on visibility.
And I mean, it makes sense, definitely from an employer standpoint. Like, I can't, if I'm going to work a job that is customer facing, I can't wear, my Black Sabbath t-shirt. I'm not fucking, what's his name from Billions?
Bobby Axe.
Yeah, I'm not Bobby Axe, right? So I can't wear the Black Sabbath t-shirt, just like I couldn't have like a visible Black Sabbath tattoo. I don't know, but we're old. That's what I'm saying. Like, the culture has already changed, and it's impossible for us to judge it in our presence, because what we're saying is like, hey, in the future you're going to have problems, but if in the future, quote unquote, everyone has the same problem, then it's not a problem, right? Tattoos stop becoming a problem. Porn tapes stop new pictures being passed around. When a certain percentage of the population all experiences the same issue, then it's not an issue anymore.
Yeah, I guess that's when you file under. We'll see.
Yeah, it just has to tip over into like, but there'll be plenty of regrets. I don't doubt that.
I've also heard the tattoo removal business has been booming like the last 15 years.
I'd invest in lasers.
Yeah.
That's the future.
Isn't lasers always a future somehow for something?
Yeah. They still, like, lasers have managed to hold on to their futuristic like idea, right? They're still like cutting edge,
yeah,
so to speak.
Even in 2021, same
like
as in
we're still
1981.
figuring out new things to do with them. New ways to use the technology.
In the 80s, we were putting them in photo backgrounds and putting them in guns, playing laser tag. There was a car. There was the Plymouth Laser.
The laser tag wasn't an actual laser, though, right? It was just a photo optic sensor that you would shoot light at, and if it picked up the light that you shot a beam of light out, and if it picked up the light, then
isn't there an artist right now called Laser Snake or something like that?
Laser what?
Laser Snake.
Laser Snake. I don't know that one. I know Major Laser. Oh, hey, speaking of lasers and shit, there's probably some lasers on that Mars rover they landed today.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool. I still get geeked about space travel, and it's way past time that we find out more about Mars.
I got the first news alert I got of it, surprisingly, was from the Weather Channel. I don't know how a rover landing on Mars is the Weather Channel's business, but
yeah, I don't know. The Weather Channel has expanded into space coverage for some reason.
You run out of weather to talk about?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's one thing that I want from the Weather Channel, and it's not articles.
Yeah.
Right? I just want numbers, statistics. That's all I need from you.
Ironically, the same reason you're not there.
You're not the Playboy of weather reporting.
Well, I say the same reason you're not there. You're not saying for Playboy. The same reason. I'm not here for the articles. I'm here for the titties.
No, because occasionally they're like Playboy did hire. They have hired. I don't know if they're what they're currently doing, but in the past they've hired good writers and they good. They have good interviews. Like I know the joke is that nobody reads it for the articles, but people actually did read the articles in Playboy. I don't think anybody's reading the Weather Channel.
No, we're not there for the editorial commentary. We're there for the fucking temperature and what if we need a jacket.
Yeah, we're there. Actually,
is it
really
raining?
Don't even go there. Just like you have a widget on your phone that shows you local weather. That's
is it going to rain?
Probably by the Weather Channel.
Oh yeah, that's my weather widget. I don't use the Apple weather widget. I use the Weather Channel widget.
So one of the cool things that Perseverance is going to be doing when it lands on Mars eventually is going to be recording some sound, which I don't.
Yeah, there you go. There's nothing up there, right?
No, I don't know. I mean, Mars has some sort of atmosphere that would carry sound waves, so it's not like it's not just like empty space.
Are we prepared to hear some crazy shit as a planet?
What if all just hear?
What if there's this super tiny miniature huge civilization we have no idea is there because nothing's ever picked it up? Like all of a sudden what if this thing crushed a whole bunch of people? What if this thing wiped out a country when it landed?
Yeah, there's microscopic life all over the place.
Yeah, like remember when Lisa Simpson had the experiment?
Right. It's Gulliver's Travel.
Like we're gonna hear like planes flying in the air and shit.
Yeah. Oh man, and they would invade us, and we would never know, right? Because they'd be microscopic. We wouldn't figure it out until it's too late. That's actually so. Kurt Vonnegut wrote a book called Slapstick, and it's the man has written in his lifetime a number of very weird books, and I've read, I believe, all of them. I know I've read at least all the novels. I think there's some nonfiction stuff that he's done that I've yet to read. But Slapstick is definitely the weirdest and probably my favorite of his books. And in it, towards the end, there's this pandemic that wipes out like most of the population. And right before that happens, all the Chinese people disappear, right?
Huh.
It's assumed that the Chinese people somehow were secretly, like all of China was building a space program or something and just like took off. Now this is a little bit into the future, but they just like, literally, like one day everyone's like, hey, have you noticed that there's no Chinese people on the planet anymore? And then shortly after that, everyone starts dying. And there's only like 10% of the population left on the planet. And they find out that the disease that was killing everyone was miniaturized Chinese people. That the Chinese had made themselves microscopic and had infected everyone else.
And they're all on Mars, is what I'm trying to say.
They never even figured out if it was like on purpose or not. Like it could have just been a side effect. Like, hey, let's make ourselves small so we can, the idea was to have more resources. If we make all of our people smaller, we can double, quadruple, who knows? The sky's the limit on our resources.
But first we got to get rid of these other motherfuckers.
Or they made themselves so small that they were just like, oh shit, like we're just floating around on the air currents now. Like we can't do shit. And then they infected everyone and then who knows? In the book, we never hear from the Chinese, I believe. Not after that.
It's racist.
It might be. It might be a lot. Like, I don't know.
Are you a fan of Kurt Vonnegut's cameo in the major motion picture Back to School?
I'd forgotten about that. What is he? He's one of the professors, right?
No. He has to.
He actually play himself?
He plays himself. He has to read a book on Vonnegut, so he hires fucking Vonnegut. Then he says, "Fuck you, Vonnegut."
No, I think I saw that movie before I ever knew who Kurt Vonnegut even was, and then haven't watched it since.
Yeah, he was a rich guy. He's like, I had to write this guy's book report on this guy's book. I'm just invite this guy over.
That's a great gag. Kurt Vonnegut's a character, man. He actually, speaking of writing articles for porn, that's where a lot of his early writings appeared. He would write these absolutely batshit crazy sci-fi stories, in we're talking like, when would he have started publishing these? Had to have been in the 50s. I wouldn't imagine it would have gone any back earlier than that. But yeah, the only place he could get these stories published for like, $5 and $10, they would get published in the back of a porno mag.
Money's money.
Yeah.
Bet his landlord didn't care.
Absolutely.
I'm saying landlord because he's a writer. Come on now.
No, the Venn diagram of property owners and writers is like barely touching.
Property owners and artists in general.
Yeah. That's primarily why I still refer to myself as an artist. Because I'm 45 and I own no property. So I don't know what other evidence you need.
The Weedsman Podcast. ChristopherMedia.net.
Introducing touch-free payments from PayPal, a safe way for your customers to pay. Simply download the PayPal app and display your own unique QR code for your customers to scan. Whether you're a market seller,
I'll take 2 tomatoes and a cucumber,
poodle pamperer, piano tuner, or plumber. Signing up to accept touch-free payments for your business is easy. Touch-free QR code payments. Shop safe with PayPal.
This week at Macy's, get ready for a spring refresh with an extra 20% off with your coupon or Macy's card. Or check out amazing specials like Levi's jeans for all, now 30 to 40% off. New kids and baby looks, 50% off. And 1,250 thread count 4-piece sheet sets, just $39.99. Plus, Macy's Star Rewards members earn on every purchase except gift cards, services, and fees. More at Macys.com/Star Rewards. Savings off sale and clearance prices, exclusions apply. This week at Macy's, get ready for a spring refresh with an extra 20% off with your coupon or Macy's card. Or check out amazing specials like Levi's jeans for all, now 30 to 40% off. New kids and baby looks, 50% off. And 1,250 thread count 4-piece sheet sets, just $39.99. Plus, Macy's Star Rewards members earn on every purchase except gift cards, services, and fees. More at Macys.com/Star Rewards. Savings off sale and clearance prices, exclusions apply.
ChristopherMedia.net. The Weedsman Podcast.
So, yeah, I don't know. It's going to be a bunch of white noise from the Perseverance, right? They're talking about the audio recording, but it's going to be amazing. Like, I'm going to put headphones on and listen and close my eyes and try and imagine what it would be like to stand on that planet.
How long until we can't say white noise anymore?
Oh, come on.
5 years? 10? 6 weeks?
No, because noise has a negative connotation, so...
Oh, sure, we could ramp up on saying white noise. Yeah. No, but we can't say... blackout will probably go away.
Black. I was going to say black holes.
But but you're black. I feel like that's... But that's what they literally suck all light into them. Like, there's no light. Dark hole? That just sounds vaguely dirty.
Night hole.
Night hole.
Absence of light hole.
There you go. The no light hole.
Either way, I mean, the problem is hole, right? Anything that you put before hole is going to be a problem.
Yes. Courtney loves hole. That only worked for like 3 years in the 90s.
Did it? I don't know. Actually, there's a handful of like listenable hole songs, but you know, that's because she knew people who could write good songs for her.
Like her first album, Kurt Cobain wrote, and her second album, Billy Corgan wrote.
Yeah. And probably Butch Vig produced at least the Live Through This album, I think. So that guy was a hit maker.
For some reason.
Yeah.
Well, but he was. Because then because he eventually said, fuck doing this for other people, I'm going to make some money too. And he made a band, and then they had a bunch of hits.
Sure. No, I know. Look, I'm not arguing with the success. I just, it just named his band appropriately, in my opinion.
Hey, I learned a long time ago to stop questioning the taste of the American people, because they're always going to let you down.
Well, I know, like, a lot of people were kind of thrown by the idea, like, because Butch Vig was known for Nirvana, and that was the band that, like, changed the sound of guitars in popular music. And so now, if you wanted the Nirvana sound, that was the original source was Butch Vig.
The quote-unquote grunge sound.
Yeah. At least the person who could take the grunge sound and make it radio-friendly. That was his secret weapon. I mean, the grunge sound was like, we put a few mics in our basement.
Yeah. But
then Garbage ends up being a lot of like sample-based synthesizer stuff, female vocals. I mean, listening to it now, side by side, doesn't really sound vastly different from all the rest of the grunge stuff. But at the time, it was kind of like, wow, that's like everyone was waiting for him to have like, some big rock band when they heard that he was making his own project. And it ends up being this weird techno project.
Well, he just dirtied up pop music is what he kind of...
Right. Absolutely. And I thought it sounded like shit. I thought it all sounded like shit. And it wasn't the songwriting or anything that really turned me off about Garbage. It was the production. So I realized, I guess I really don't care for Butch Vig as a producer, ultimately.
It kind of, though, I understand, it laid the ground for how pop music is now in a way, as it took it brought it into the next century, if that makes any sense, as far as the production went.
I'll give them this. You know, a lot of people at that time were looking for ways to incorporate techno sounds into their indie rock and pop music, and they were failing miserably. They were just atrocious results. They were like, oh, we'll just take that beat from that fucking, you know, that Enigma song or something, and just put, you know, we'll just remix it with like a breakbeat underneath and a dubby bass line. Or all we need is an acid, you know, synthesizer sound in there. And none of that shit lasted. So, like, he did come up with something that actually had some perseverance to it to try and get back to what we were talking about, I guess. I don't know how we got from... I thought we were talking about space.
Right.
How did we get on music? It always comes back to music.
Black holes. And then we start talking about...
Oh, right, black holes.
Courtney Love.
Yeah. No, I wanted to go back to space because I've also been watching For All Mankind, which is that's on Apple. Is it Apple Plus? Everything's Plus. I'm just assuming that. I'm just like, whatever your brand is, if you come out with a streaming service, it's Plus. Now there's Paramount Plus.
Yeah, that's the CBS's CBS All Access. Bye-bye, and it's
already
Paramount
rebranding.
Plus. Yeah,
right. Rebranding and not offering any new content, which is interesting. They're like, hey, here's all the same shit, but guess what? We got a new logo and a commercial with an animated Samuel Jackson.
No, that's for Verizon, where he gets eaten by the fish.
All right. Wait, Paramount had the one where they were all climbing the mountain, right?
Yeah, I think they're adding more content. I think they're going the Peacock route, or they're getting it from other. They're doing more than just CBS content, I think.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're right. They have cultivated more of a library. They've expanded the library, yes, but you know, we've seen what drives, especially initial subscriptions, and that's original content. And like, I don't know. I don't know how successful they've been money-wise with their CBS All Access, but creatively, it's been totally bankrupt. But
agreed.
Before we get to that, because I wanted to talk about, too, their latest disaster, I wanted to throw some praise onto For All Mankind. I should have been watching this show the whole time, and I've heard a lot of people say good things about it, and they got a second season that's starting this weekend. So I started watching it, and I got addicted, and I did what I rarely do, which is binge, and I've been through, in the last 3 days, I've gotten through 8 episodes now. And these are girthy episodes, man. Like, the first one's damn near a movie, and they're all like a little over an hour, and they're pretty densely packed. There's not a lot of they're not stretching out the taffy in this. They're putting story in there in all of that. And it's got a big cast, a really great cast, and a really diverse and sometimes even weird cast. The the mission commander or whatever, the guy that stands in the room, you know, and controls all the people at the mission control.
Yes.
Whatever that guy's job was. That's played by, oh shit, I forgot his name. What is his name? The guy who played Squeak on Basketball.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what that guy's name is.
Right.
I know who he is.
Eric Layden. That's who he is, yes. He's a great, it's great casting, because I think he has a perfect, the show takes place at the end of the 60s, right? But you still have all these guys walking around that are still dressed like they're in the 50s. And he's definitely one of them. You know, he dresses like, an engineer would that worked for NASA. It's got, the
thin tie.
Right, thin tie, short sleeve white shirt with the pocket and the pocket protector.
He's got the glasses.
I'm trying to remember if he has glasses. I want to say that he does have the total like thick black glasses too. But yeah, every time he shows up on there, I'm always like, your mission just got saved by Squeak.
Wake up, bitch! You're my new best friend.
But then he gives this great speech. They're about to launch this mission, and well, I don't know if you know what the concept is. It's not a retelling of history. It throws a little hitch in history, basically, and says, what if the Soviets beat us to the moon? And what that gives them is an actual space race to follow. So, like, the space race was a very short thing. It was like, JFK says we're going to go to the moon, and then Soviets are like, fuck you, we're going to beat you there, and then they don't. And then after that, shit starts going south for the Soviets, and they can't really keep up, and it's really not a race anymore. And so the U.S. has been, since, like, kind of lackadaisical about space travel. It's like, we'll get to it. And when you got, people that have no, affordable housing in your country, and, you've got political and social turmoil, yeah, I can understand the arguments for what maybe this needs to be put on the back burner, but it's still our future. And if we're not, if the U.S. isn't going to do it, somebody else is. And that's pretty much what Eric Leiden's speech in this was all about, because he has to he's commanding not commanding, because that would be on the actual flight, but he's going to be overseeing the first flight to the moon for the Americans. But this is like right after the Russians had already done it. So half the country's like, what's the fucking point? And he's like, this whole mission is the answer to what the point is. Like, what are we really doing here? Was it just a foot race to the moon? Or is it, are we going to beat these, or are we fighting a bigger war that this is just the first step in? So, yeah, I mean, we get to see America when it was really driven to accomplish things, and what it can accomplish when it actually has competition. There's a great line in it where there's a whole team of female astronauts that get chosen, and it starts out as like a publicity stunt because the Russians do it, and they're like, well, now we need a woman, and so they're like, all right, well, if we're going to train women, we're going to train women, and they end up getting a whole group of women approved for space flight. And one of them goes up there, the first American woman goes up in space, and everyone's cheering her, getting on the rocket, and she's like this very practical woman, and she goes, I don't know what the fuck they're cheering for. I haven't done shit yet.
Nice.
And their captain, who's played by Joel, what is his name? He was in Suicide Squad. Anyway, he goes, well, you did just strap your ass to a million tons of rocket fuel for government pay, so that's something. But those two have a conversation later on where they're talking about how they're up in space and away from their families, and why are they even fucking doing this? And they're like, because they're selfish bastards, right? And the Hood says, here's to selfish bastards. We move the ball forward for humankind.
It's true.
It is true. It's absolutely true.
Most advances in civilization are because someone wanted to get rich or laid.
Or both. Like noticed or have a legacy.
Yeah.
Actually, like rich and laid are all part of that, having a legacy.
Yeah.
People, sure, like having nice things and getting laid is all great, but that is all part of a deeper drive for a legacy, to leave something behind.
Bender's Monument. Remember me.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, For All Mankind, it gets kind of sappy sometimes, but solid drama. It's not super nerdy. it's not completely one thing or the other. It's not like super rah-rah American, like we can do anything. You know, it's nuanced in its story, but it's not also going like, it's not slagging on America either.
Back when you're number one.
Right. It's not getting into any of that shit. And, you know, and the story is taking place in between like 1969 now to where I'm at is 74. It might be later. They did a bit of a time jump. And so the politics are changing, and there's a lot of nuance in the characters where, you know, you see people that are acting overtly sexist in one scene and then being completely reasonable people in the next, right? It's not like we don't see depictions of sexism in fiction, but we mostly see it from villain characters, people who have already been written off of like, no, these people are amoral, that's why we're giving them the sexist lines. Instead of saying, well, like, you know, it was the 50s. Like, Mad Men handled this really well. Like, guys were sexist, and it wasn't cool, but it was accepted at the time, and that's what we're trying to portray here. Mm-hmm. This is what the culture was. Not trying to reshape it into what we want it to be, or recast it as more evil than it was.
You're just trying to show what it was. Yeah.
I think it does a great job for all that. It's got a lot of work to do, and it's kind of a crazy concept. And man, it succeeds on like 90% of what it's trying to do, and it's trying to do a lot. And the cast is phenomenal. Super great cast. Everybody is really strong in it.
The Weedsman Podcast. ChristopherMedia.net.
This week at Macy's, get ready for a spring refresh with an extra 20% off with your coupon or Macy's card. Or check out amazing specials like Levi's jeans for all, now 30 to 40% off. New kids and baby looks, 50% off. And 1,250 thread count 4-piece sheet sets, just $39.99. Plus, Macy's Star Rewards members earn on every purchase except gift cards, services, and fees. More at Macys.com/Star Rewards. Savings off sale and clearance prices, exclusions apply.
Me, but also you. The Pharaoh fast forwards his favorite foreign film, Powder Donut. Okay, what's my line?
The only line I see here on the script is get options based on your budget with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive.
Oh man, that's a tongue twister, huh? I'm sorry, I'm gonna need a few more minutes. Bulbous Walrus, the Bulbous Walrus.
The Name Your Price tool, only from Progressive.
The owl ran afoul of the comatose coxswain.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Introducing touch-free payments from PayPal, a safe way for your customers to pay. Simply download the PayPal app and display your own unique QR code for your customers to scan. Whether you're a market seller,
I'll take 2 tomatoes and a cucumber,
poodle pamperer, piano tuner, or plumber. Signing up to accept touch-free payments for your business is easy. Touch-free QR code payments. Shop safe with PayPal.
ChristopherMedia.net. The Weedsman Podcast.
Which is more than I can say for that Clarice show.
Oh, boy.
Which like Paramount, CBS, whatever you want to call yourselves, it doesn't fucking matter. The name doesn't matter. Plus, minus, bonus, extra, whatever you want to tag on to the end of your already branded name. All of that is superfluous. Content is what matters. And if the quality of your content is going to continue to be taking other people's ideas and shitting on them, then nobody's going to subscribe to your fucking bullshit.
So did they give it the Star Trek treatment?
Clarice? Yeah. I mean, another show, like, nobody needs this. There's a whole list of stories that I saved of stuff that we just don't need, and we don't have time to even get into. Cruella, the Disney telling the story of Cruella de Vil. Like,
why?
Right.
Who was asking for this?
You took a two-dimensional villain from a movie about killing dogs and turning them into coats, and you think that there's a story there? That there's
Hey, listen. We're like 2 generations into people not having maybe even 2.5-ish put a little bit on our generation as well, of people not having to use their imaginations, and now they're adults and they're writing movies and TV shows.
I think
that's why everything's a fucking reboot.
Like most things in cultures, this is cyclical. We go through, original ideas and then retreads, and we're definitely in a retread fucking ditch right now, though. And most of this is due to CBS, all the Star Trek shit, Twilight Zone, the Stand, everything that they've touched has been utter bullshit.
Don't you have to love Twilight Zone because Jordan Peele does it?
No, you don't have to. It's a very poorly rated show. But I wanted to give it a shot, and I did have, as part of the bundled package that I got with Showtime and CBS, where if I canceled it, I'd actually have to pay Showtime another $1 to not have CBS. So I had Clarice available to me. Why not? At least check it out. And I made it through half an episode. And
wow.
It was like giving me a headache how bad it was. Well, first of all, it was giving me a headache because it was edited like a 1990s Tool video.
Choppy.
And yeah, it was trying to be like very David Fincher, let's do some quick edits and some
cocaine
sound effects, or I don't know, it's there's just nothing good about it. No redeeming I guess
she's not the interesting part of that story. Hannibal Lecter is.
Right. Clarice was just a character that was supposed to give us a point of view. We weren't, I haven't read the book, but from the movie, we are not shown a lot about Clarice. And it's not necessary that we are shown that. And in that way, it's the same reason Agent Dale Cooper has been such a lasting presence as a character from a show that was 30 fucking years ago now. Because it was kind of a mystery, right? He was an outside force that was merely meant to just be a vessel in the story for the person who was watching or reading, right? Just navigate you through the story. Clarice really, she really doesn't do much in the story, right? She gets tripped up in all of this shit.
She's a plot device.
And almost accidentally, quote unquote, solves the case.
She is a plot device in that movie. That movie is about Hannibal Lecter. That is why you are watching that movie.
Yes, she is just somebody who gets sucked into Hannibal Lecter's world and almost drowns in it. So, I don't know, if somebody feels like they have a solid story to tell that involves, a property that we already know, that's fine. But you've got to, clearly this was, they didn't go into this with an idea of a story to tell.
This is woke bullshit.
They were what do people like? People like Silence of the Lambs. People like police procedurals. Let's do a Silence of the Lambs themed police procedural. And because it has all this, built-in audience that comes with people who want to know more about this character, we don't really have to do any writing. And it's just the sloppiest bullshit procedural stuff.
And I think it's 2021 too. It has to be the female lead. I think that's part of it too, because CBS, they're doing it with Star Trek.
It's immediately full of scenes where she's got to prove herself to somebody, and then you think you become a big star because everyone knows you because of this Buffalo Bill shit now, and I'm not going in for your psychoanalysis shit. And then they find 2 dead bodies. They're we got a serial killer. You got to tell they're start pressuring her because she's she's the face now of this part of the FBI, right? Because she's so well known for getting Buffalo Bill. And so she's the one that goes to talk to the press about these 2 dead girls that they found in a ditch. And they're well, you got to go out there and you got to tell them we got a serial killer and that we're on it. And she's like, well, we don't know that these are two dead bodies that we found in the same place. Like, how do we know they didn't kill each other or have a suicide pact or something? Or, like, we don't know anything yet. And they're like, nope, this is a serial killer. This organization was started to catch serial killers, and this is our first serial killer. We're going to...
we got one.
It was just, like, utter nonsense. Just utter nonsense. I can't even just, like, describe how bad it was. And the woman that they cast to play Clarice is doing the accent and everything, right? They cast somebody who has the same stature, the same build, the same look as Jodie Foster, and they had her try and do Jodie Foster's voice, which is such a specific voice, right? Jodie Foster is somebody who grew up in the South with a speech impediment and it has tried to hide both of those unsuccessfully in her career. And I'm not saying that as a criticism because it's given her, a very unique voice that people remember. And she's like, look, if you need to recast a part, just fucking recast the part. You know, we're smart enough. We'll get it. You know, if it doesn't look exactly like Jodie Foster, somebody's going to call her Clarice a couple times and we'll go, oh, that's Clarice. Right? And then we move on. We don't get tripped up and go, yeah, I watched all of Clarice and it was kind of cool and they caught the killer at the end and it had some cool action scenes, but I kept going like, where's the lisp?
Yeah. I mean, they called her Clarice Starling 9,000 times, but
yeah, but I just didn't buy it. I just didn't buy it. Yeah, she just didn't look enough like Jodie Foster. I wasn't buying it. Like, that's something a moron says.
Told you, man. You ever been outside? Talk to people.
And that's who CBS is programming for. Fucking morons.
That Gorilla Glue lady got 10 grand. 10 fucking grand.
She got that 10 grand from her, like, a GoFundMe, right?
Dude.
It's being investigated. They think there's some hijinks with that money. So, we ran long talking about TV.
I'll talk about the reefer.
We'll talk some more about the reefer. Well, actually, some breaking news. Oh no, this was published 2 days ago. Well, fuck me running. It just popped up on my feed before we got on, but apparently Hawaii's made a pretty big step in legalizing cannabis.
Oh, how so?
They advanced 2 bills, Tuesday, yeah, so a couple days ago I was recording this. One to legalize and regulate cannabis, and then another to increase the amount that's covered under their current decriminalization.
Damn, so they not only want to do that, they want you to... Right now, if you get caught with it, they want you to be able to have more before they legalize it. Hey, we want to up it to 9 ounces.
Yeah, well, they upped it to, or they're looking to. This was voted out of committee, so it has to actually pass their, House or whatever. But what they're looking for is to up it to a full ounce. So I think it's like half an ounce currently.
Oh, I want you to party.
Which is still pretty liberal, but...
Listen, if you have any more than a half a pound on you, sorry, we're going to have to take you in.
But then again, yeah, if I'm getting the hookup in Hawaii and I'm going to be there a while, like you take a week's vacation in Hawaii, you don't buy a half-o.
Hawaii's basically going, tourists, keep it under an ounce. We're being pretty reasonable here.
Yeah. Well, and it's kind of funny that they've been so late to the game in legalizing this.
Considering their reputation, absolutely.
Yeah. And there's been some theorizing. I mean, we've talked about this too. There's probably such a strong illegal market in Hawaii as it is, that was actually probably too strong and working against legislation. Like there were probably people who were in elected office who had some, marijuana business on the side.
Every person I know who's gone to Hawaii has a weed buying story as part of their trip to Hawaii.
Yeah.
Apparently not too hard to buy weed as a tourist in Hawaii. From what I hear, ask your cab driver.
Yeah. So it's almost like Hawaii has been tackling this problem from the other side. The problem isn't about, the over prosecution of cannabis. It's that they're too liberal with it. And if they have to start legalizing it and taxing it, everyone's going to start making less money. And then they'll actually have some proper competition. And there goes your side business.
That's how the government works.
Your side hustle.
Government. The government works. Competition? No fucking way.
All right. So, and the legalization bill that they passed out of committee is looking to have their health department set up guidelines for legal business by July 1st. That's what they're proposing.
Rolling like Nevada. Quick.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if they roll fast on this, then they could totally get this passed by the end of the year without ever having Hawaiians vote on it.
Nevada is the only state so far that started selling the year following their vote. Like, Nevada voted on it in November. By July, they were selling weed.
Mm-hmm. I think that actually getting this done through the legislature instead of proposing it as a popular vote is going to be the better way to get this done, especially in some of the holdout states, especially if you want to get the rest of the South on your team. And the reason I say that is because there was an article I was reading today about, let me pull this up.
Or if you're a blue state late to the party, like, I don't know, New York.
So this was in the Marijuana Business Daily. This is an article written by Jeff Smith, not the writer and artist of Bone, the comic book. Well, I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe he does cannabis journalism on the side. But so he has a story called "Marijuana Foes Deploy New quote unquote Playbook to Thwart State Legalization, Upend Election Results." And if you're interested in this, I'd highly recommend looking it up. He goes really in depth. This is actually this is proper journalism that you don't see all the time now in bigger publications.
Or anywhere.
But, yeah, just about anywhere. And he's looking at a bunch of different court cases around the country that have come from, we saw this whole sweep in November of states that came on board with legal cannabis in one form or another. And there's been challenges to that.
South Dakota, looking at you.
Yeah, South Dakota, Mississippi, there's been challenges, Montana. They're facing court challenges that mirror a lot of the court challenges to the presidential election.
Well, the one in South Dakota won, but it's going to their Supreme Court.
Right.
And it's from what I heard, what I read, the state is going to they're still going to move forward for their legal, which they're trying to do July 1st as well.
Right. Yeah. That's the thing. The part of the playbook seems to be delay. And that's kind of what they were going for in the election, right? If we can just keep fighting this, keep delaying, we can keep it in question. And I think the idea is that, they can have the court, the challenges make enough news to put a spotlight on this issue again. And maybe they're thinking that people would, rethink their vote. Or that maybe they just didn't get the first time around. They didn't get their message to the right people about the quote-unquote dangers of cannabis. So
you're not Queen of South Dakota, Kristi Noem. It's the will of the people. People spoke on this one. Deal with it.
Yeah, that's the worst part. Like this, Kristi Noem
I would have sex
in
with
South
her.
Dakota she's the one that's actually fighting this. Does it bum you out because she's attractive?
Yeah, I would have sex with her.
Well, look, I mean, I'm sure she's a big hypocrite, too, so she's probably going to blaze with you afterward, too.
Well, she's probably one of the type of people, she's probably got a pole barn full of it.
Right. She has her own interests and whatever. She's making money off of this in some way, I'm sure. But I mean, medical marijuana in South Dakota, and this was cited in Justmith's article here, passed by 68%. 68%.
The people have
if
spoken.
That's not a fucking landslide. Yeah. I don't know what is.
Majority is 51. Yeah. That's 17 more.
Not to get us off topic, but, Trump, the Trumps of the world will come and go. What's more important for us to keep our eye on are the tactics that were used to try and keep Trump in office. And people argue that, well, he was ultimately unsuccessful, and so, hey, the American way prevailed. Yeah, but they weren't completely unsuccessful either, right?
He can run for office again.
Right. And
he got
court
acquitted.
Challenges, like all their court challenges were thrown out, except for one, but that doesn't make them, quote unquote, unsuccessful. If your bar for success isn't winning the case, but keeping enough cases out there to make it look like there's something bigger going on, and maybe that's the plan here. Maybe conservatives are seeing this as an issue that, like, hey, we can actually, fight this on multiple sides in multiple states and tie that all together to make it look like a grassroots movement, right? So all these people in these states, they're going to stand up and say, no, we're not in my backyard.
Listen, Congress, here's your shot. All three of you are blue. Let's. This is your window. Yeah. I mean, that's really the only way out of this, right? A federal law that goes, hey, everyone, it's time to party. That's going to be official language in the legislation as well. That's how it's going to be. That's how it's going to open.
Yeah. So the point I was trying to make earlier, and I don't know, this is just pure conjecture, but maybe we'll see more of the Hawaii method, the Vermont method. They just get it done in the legislature, because then you can actually have all the interested parties at the negotiating table, right? I think part of what happens here is that, it's not like, I'm sure Kristi Noem could be bought like most governors, I think her beef is that she didn't get a cut, right? There was a marijuana deal that went down, and the voters decide. Now, you do it to the legislature. Now you can pull some strings, and you can say, hey, well, I've got a cousin who's got a farm, and they've got property. We could get them licensed up, and I don't see why not. Right? You can actually control more of your backroom deals and put together a package that, the wackadoodles might still come out of the woodwork and fight, but none of your Republican cohorts are going to go against it because they've all got their buy-in on it.
Yeah, because I don't look at South Dakota as one of those traditional red states. I look at them as one of the more, the libertarian kind of red state.
I mean, I know this is a real cynical way to look at it, but that might be a stronger way to get cannabis passed. But then again, like you were saying, nationally, and we definitely should do it now while we have the power to do so. This makes this all go away. This becomes moot. I mean, I guess you could still have state prohibition, right? That would be the real test, both socially and legally. If they do national prohibition, but I don't know. Who would be a holdout state?
Someone very red.
But anyway, imagine some holdout state going, no, it's not going to happen in here. And so that's definitely going to get challenged and would probably play out in the courts. But it would also test it socially. I mean, ultimately, like we were talking about at the top of the show with alcohol, the legality isn't really the question, right? The market's there. The transactions are happening. People are making things that other people are buying. It's just a question of how much the government is involved.
Everyone wants their cut.
If all of Mississippi, if the culture overwhelmingly decides that it doesn't want cannabis, then it would be, I'm not saying it would go away, but it would make it very difficult to exist. But I don't believe that is in the culture, right? It's in the culture to accept the fact that marijuana is bad and we should just keep it illegal, which basically just means it makes it a little bit harder to get, so that way I don't have to worry about my kids getting it so much. But really, we've seen statistics that show that it actually makes it harder for your kids to get it under legal systems than it does under illegal systems.
I was your son's age before. I got whatever I wanted.
Absolutely. But, it's part of the culture to just accept that, it's like bad, but not so bad. And, I got an uncle who does it, and it's not the end of the world, right? That's what's in the culture. But if the culture starts pushing more towards, no, this should just be accepted for anyone to do it, and we shouldn't be looked at askew or, not be considered for jobs or something like that, or looked at as a bad parent or a bad coworker or anything like that because of cannabis consumption, a lot of people aren't going to push back against that. They're going to kind of go with the flow. Okay, this is where we're going now. Hey, I'll fess up. I enjoy a joint every once in a while, right? Who doesn't?
Yeah.
That's the way. I don't think that you're going to have this strong culture of holdouts that are going to want to push against it. You have people who are looking for, political people are looking for any kind of hook that they can get into what they see as, that conservative religious base, right? And drugs seem to always be one that they can use.
Drugs are bad.
So, Kristi Noem not having any financial benefit from legal cannabis could definitely have a political benefit from coming out against it. Maybe she gets a boost in her poll numbers from Christian conservatives off of that. Maybe she uses that to, ride a platform into her next election. That's who the people, the real foes of cannabis that we have to worry about in the process of legalization. The people because we're always going to have religious nuts who want to tell other people what they should and shouldn't do in this country. And we just have to ignore them. But there'll always be politicians that want to appeal to that base and say, there are things that we should be controlling.
Jesus votes.
Yeah, I immediately started thinking of that Kanye song, right? Jesus votes.
Yeah.
God, this is a scary concept.
He does, just not directly.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure. There's probably a poster that we could buy right now that's got it just says Jesus votes, and it's got, a hand dropping a ballot into a box with another hand over it, guiding it.
He's a puppet regime.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, explain this to me. If Jesus votes, why does he let people vote for Obama then?
Now we have Lady Obama. That was John Oliver's nickname for her when she was in the debates.
That's sexist, isn't it? That could be sexist and racist.
Sure. In 2021, it's all on the table. Justin Timberlake had to apologize last week for being mad that Britney Spears cheated on him 20 years ago.
Well, that's not exactly a fair portrayal of events, I don't think. I mean, who knows ultimately what happened, but I think what's commonly known is that was all. I mean, they just broke up. What really happened, who knows? But during the breakup, there was images to maintain, and Timberlake was the good boy out of his group, and Britney was kind of the bad girl, right? She had the good girl look, but it was to highlight the fact that she was a little naughty, right? That's how they were packaging her.
I mean, when the world meets you in a fucking that outfit in that One More Time video, that was essentially her coming out party as a pop star. I mean,
she was packaged as such. So they were when they were packaged as such, and then they broke up. I'm sure their handlers, whoever the people around them, are like, okay, here's the story. Britney cheated on you. You're heartbroken.
Then you made a badass song.
But unfortunately, what comes out of that is Britney Spears getting death threats, because people are fucking insane.
Hey, she's fine. She was fine. We're talking about 2004.
I don't know. Who could have any idea except for Brittany and Justin what their relationship was like and what happened there and why they broke up and who hurt who more or whatever. Who could care? Who could know? To get upset and to apologize for what happened there publicly. I mean, this might as well be like Hulk Hogan kept putting out a statement saying that he's sorry that he hit Captain Lou Albano so hard back in the day. Like, you realize it's fucking fake, you people. Do you realize it's fucking fake?
No, they don't. We're back to, yes, dude, they had to write "do not put on hair" on the Gorilla Glue. Yes, you have to.
Yeah, they didn't realize it now. I mean, they didn't realize it then, and they don't realize it now. Like, people are going back and redebating that and looking at Justin Timberlake. Some people think he's a good guy because he apologized. Other people think his apology doesn't mean anything because it was too late or that it was false. I'm like, well, you're getting warmer there on that false. Yes, the apology was false. The breakup was false. The cheating was false. The relationship was false.
Yeah.
The two people involved were fully created by committees. These are Disney products.
Yes.
We don't know Justin Timberlake and Britney Spears. We do not know who these people are. They've been carved into a diamond and shown a facet. That's all we know.
They're created in a boardroom.
My God. Publicly apologize.
Yeah.
Weep. Sometimes. Let's wrap up the show because I'm really high. I can't make a solid point on this now anyway.
Yes. So we are on social media at the Weedsman 420 on Twitter. Like us on Facebook. The Weedsman Podcast on Instagram. You can also email us, the Weedsman Podcast, at ChristopherMedia.net, which is where you go to hit the PayPal button or the Amazon banner if you want to help us out. One way costs you extra money. One way doesn't. Make your choice. Choose wisely. And listen to us everywhere. You listen to us Amazon Music, Audible, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Spreaker, Stitcher, and now on the YouTube. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, that's where we are at. Thank you for listening, and stay high.
Stay high.
This week at Macy's, get ready for a spring refresh with an extra 20% off with your coupon or Macy's card. Or check out amazing specials like Levi's jeans for all, now 30 to 40% off. New kids and baby looks, 50% off. And 1,250 thread count 4-piece sheet sets, just $39.99. Plus, Macy's Star Rewards members earn on every purchase except gift cards, services, and fees. More at Macys.com/Star Rewards. Savings off sale and clearance prices, exclusions apply.
Me, but also you. The Pharaoh fast forwards his favorite foreign film, Powder Donut. Okay, what's my line?
The only line I see here on the script is get options based on your budget with the name your price tool from Progressive.
Oh man, that's a tongue twister, huh? I'm sorry, I'm gonna need a few more minutes. Bulbous Walrus, the Bulbous Walrus.
The Name Your Price tool, only from Progressive.
The owl ran afoul of the comatose coxswain.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
The Weedsman Podcast. ChristopherMedia.net.